What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to the brother Sean Hammett for the $5 donation via the Cash App. He says, stay on Bron ass sets. Absolutely, we will, and we shall. And we got a great one for you today because Jeff Teague, of all people, just accused LeBron James of using PEDs. Now, he did use the qualifier allegedly, but he spoke about it in such a matter-of-fact way that it's like this wasn't him trying to be funny or even accusatory. He said it like he knew this was the deal, right? So he was on his podcast. So what is it? I think it's called Club 520. And they were talking about which version of LeBron James was the best. When all of a sudden, Jeff Teague just popped out and said that, that's when LeBron was using steroids, right? Then he said allegedly. And he said that's why LeBron James had to disappear for a couple of weeks because they were testing for HGH. And they basically made him just leave, take a powder. And, he came back and he was real skinny. And anyway, here's the audio right here, the video, I should say.
Which Bron was better?
Miami Heat Bron.
Miami Heat Bron.
Miami Heat.
I'm going this Cavs Bron because this Cavs Bron had a 3.
Man, y'all crazy. Miami Heat
best Bron
Bron
we ever
was,
seen. I ain't gonna lie.
he was on steroids, bro. He had to sit out. He was on steroids for real.
Now, I give you
like legit was on steroids, bro. Allegedly, but like he had to sit out. But y'all remember when they told him like
there goes the Clutch Sports allegations?
Y'all remember that though?
No,
when they was like he got everybody, they started testing for HGH, and they was like, yo, and he had to sit out. Like he said his back was hurt, and he sat out for like 3 weeks, and he came back skinny. This is just I was in the league. I remember. And he came back in. He was crazy though.
Nah,
bro.
that might have been the best Bron, bro.
Well, there goes those clutch checks. There goes those clutch checks. Yeah, but I remember that time period. I remember it. It was, I want to say it was in 2014. And I want to say it was when he was still with Miami. I want to say he was still with Miami. And LeBron James disappeared. And he came back and he was skinny as fuck. I mean, skinny, like the smallest that we had seen. I would say musculature-wise, he was smaller than when he first came in the league. So he might have dropped down like to 235. I mean, he was small, man. For his frame, he was small. And they said it was because he was trying some new macrobiotic diet or some bullshit, right? And then I think he came back the next year and he disappeared again or something like that. And then all of a sudden he's like gained 30 pounds of muscle and jumping out the gym and all that. Because before he did that, when he had came back, he didn't look the same. He wasn't as explosive. He wasn't as strong. All of that shit. That was what really started leading people to believe that LeBron James was, getting some artificial help. So to have Jeff Teague say this, even with the qualifier allegedly, is just is just reigniting this perception that what we've seen from LeBron James has not been natural. Now, I mean, honestly, just from observation of history makes what LeBron James has been doing the last couple of years, even though he's been nearing 40 years of age with that much mileage on his legs. It just doesn't seem like it's something that's natural. It doesn't. And what really grinds my gears about this whole situation is seeing how they persecuted Barry Bonds all those years. Barry Bonds was putting up numbers that we hadn't seen before. And a press corps who did not like him, and a press corps that, at least some of them, did not like the fact that, I'm just going to be honest, they didn't like that a black man like Barry Bonds. It may have even been better if it was Griffey. You know what I'm saying? And there's some nuances to racism. It's not always necessarily that if it was a black man, they would have a problem with it. It's a particular type of black man. Barry Bonds, to them, was arrogant and disrespectful. And they couldn't stand a guy like him doing that. Now, you could argue, well, what about if he was an arrogant, disrespectful white guy? That's part of it, too. But, you know what I'm saying? They didn't like Barry Bonds. And from the get-go, they attached Barry Bonds to PED usage to the point where even with very little evidence other than your suspicions that he used PEDs, he has been effectively banished from baseball and banished from ever being inducted into the Hall of Fame unless, it comes via the Veterans Committee, which probably will be no time soon. Whereas LeBron James, we're hearing all these little anecdotes, these anecdotal stories about his ties to PED uses, and we've seen people close to him be caught with and I mean really close to him, business associates and other people that we know related to him tied to PEDs. But the media picks and chooses. We know that Evander Holyfield has ties to PED uses, but because he believes in God and, because, the media likes him, he's not as tarnished by it. But to me, both of his victories against Mike Tyson are tarnished because just before that, he looked like shit against Riddick Bowe. Now all of a sudden you fight Mike Tyson and you look like a bodybuilder at age 34? Man, get out of here, man. But yeah, man. I think it's definitely something there. When, you got Jeff Teague, I don't know why he said it, but, he said it, saying, the league has started investigating for HGH. And so therefore that tells you that the league knows. That tells you that to a certain extent, the league knows that a lot of these guys are doing shit they're not supposed to be doing, man. And that's why I don't give these guys the same credit, because you're getting artificial help. Can you imagine Michael Jordan using steroids the second three-peat? Hell, fuck that. Imagine him using steroids the first three-peat. Come on, man. Don't you guys have enough of an advantage already? I know it's competitive in sports, but I have, even though it's still wrong, right? I would even somewhat understand guys who are competing to just stay in the league, possibly feeling pressured to use PEDs just to keep a contract, and maintain a contract to feed their families and to provide a living for themselves in that world, in that realm. Okay, it's still wrong, right? It's still wrong, but I can somewhat understand the motivation of self-preservation. But for a guy like LeBron James, who already was given supposedly gifts, for you to be that greedy, bro, that You know what I'm saying? You're putting chemicals in your body just to be able to, in your mind, push you to a certain level that hard work isn't enough, dedication to the craft, commitment, that's not enough. You got to use chemicals to give yourself an artificial advantage over people so that, you know, that's pretty much your way of dominating because you're too lazy to put that work in like Kobe and Mike and all these Bird and Magic and all these other guys did. You know, I just can't respect this dude, man. I'm sure he works, but not to the extent these other guys do. Like, you look at LeBron James, he's 40 years old. For you to have a body like that at age 40, naturally, you have to be an absolute gym rat. You got to be like a workaholic gym rat like Terrell Owens was at that age. And he's not. LeBron's not. So that tells me that he's doing some, you know, everybody know, man. But anyway, tell what you guys think.